Hey, I'm here tonight with my June wrap-up video. I read 14 books this month, which I'm pretty excited about. And it turns out about half of them are in graphic novel format and half of them are actual traditional novels. And I'm kind of excited about that. I really haven't read a lot of graphic novels in the past, and I've really been trying to push through that this year and delve into the world of graphic picture novels. And I've picked a few that I've liked. I really haven't found too many that I've just outright did not like yet. But I'm still trying to kind of play around and see what I do like and what I don't like. So I'm not sure. And I don't really know how to review graphic novels. I'm like, yeah, I like the picture. So bear with me as I do my reviews of these graphic novels. So first, I finished the Lunch Lady series. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I just love these. I think they're adorable. I ended up reading number 3, which is Lunch Lady and the Author Visit Vendetta. I read number 8, which is Lunch Lady in the Picture Day Peril. And I read number 6, which is Lunch Lady in the Field Trip Fiasco. And basically these are very short, juvenile graphic novel series, and they're just adorable. If you have kids, you should have them read it. If you're a human, read it. They're just so cute. I just love them. And they take like 5 minutes. They're so short. I think they're like less than 100 pages, and most of it is pictures. And I can't get my arm around there. I love the pictures here. They're all in like a grayscale with just little pops of yellow, and basically it follows the story of the Lunch Lady. She's kind of a secret superhero. Her and her sidekick Betty use all kinds of kitchen and food-based 007 weapons to defend the school, and they're just adorable. Check them out because they're just so cute, and they all involve different things that happen in school, like field trips and picture day, and they're just wonderful. Definitely check them out. I gave all of these either 3 or 4 stars on Goodreads because I love them. They're perfect. So I read 3 of those. Then I picked up the sequel, or the second book, I guess, to Amulet. This one is called The Stonekeeper's Curse, and these are by Kazuo Kabushi. Oh, and by the way, the Lunch Lady series is by Jarrett J. Krzalska, I think. That's his name, if you were looking those up. But back to Amulet. This one is by Kazuo Kabushi, which I just wanted to say again because that's really fun. But I saw these and I was like, I don't know about these because they've got little critters on the front. This doesn't seem like me. But I was surprised that it did keep my interest. Basically, it follows the story of this little girl whose dad dies, and her brother and her mom move into this kind of weird little house. She finds this amulet that's got all kinds of magic, and they end up having to use it to try to save their mom, who is kidnapped by these little, troll things. And I don't know. It involves a house that, moves like a robot. I don't know. It kept my attention. I don't know how, but it did. I was fascinated. I wanted to know if they saved the mom, and here I am reading the second one, and I'll probably read the third one. And the pictures are pretty good. They're kind of thick for a graphic novel, but meh, it's okay. It was kind of interesting. I liked it. I think I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. Next, I read another second book in a graphic novel series, and this one is Alex and Ada. This is by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. Basically, the story follows Alex, who is given an android robot of a girl by his grandma, which I just think is probably the best plotline ever. But then when he gets her, he's just not really sure what to do. He's not enjoying the fact that she doesn't really have a mind of her own. She doesn't have her own thoughts. She just kind of sits around and waits for him to tell her what to do. He doesn't like that. So he goes onto this online forum and finds a group that can, I don't remember what they call it, activate her basically. And that means kind of give her her own brain and have, she'll have her own opinions and her own desires and etc., etc. And then it's up to him then to decide if he wants to unlock her or not, especially considering that unlocking these androids is against the law for safety reasons. They're afraid that all the androids are going to take over the world. So if he does unlock her, then he's going to have to deal with those consequences. Maybe they're going to have to go on the run. Who knows? And then this follows the second part of their relationship. And again, these are the volumes, so they include several of the comics, I believe. But I liked it. I think these are kind of fascinating. And it's interesting to think for myself, would I go against the law and try to activate somebody because I thought they had feelings inside, or I don't know. It's thought-provoking, I think. But yeah, definitely check these out. The illustrations aren't too bad. Interesting. It's an interesting read. This is a comic that I would say that I definitely am into. And then I also read technically two, I guess, that I don't have because I took them back to the library because they were on hold because they're hot ticket items, and that is Walking Dead Book 1 I'll put here, and Walking Dead Book 2 I'll put there. And again, those are kind of like collections of the comics into like one larger collection. Basically, I wanted to read The Walking Dead because I've seen the show, and I've heard people try to compare it to the book, like, oh, this happened there, this didn't happen there, this was different, and I wanted to see it for myself. So I picked up the comics and I gave them a read. Gave him a read. Gave him a read. I gave him a read. You can see they just totally blew my mind. I can't even talk. I'm not sure, though. I think I actually like the show better, which is odd to say, but I do. I think in the show it's a lot more... it's easier to identify with the characters. You're more sympathetic to them. I think the character development in the show is just so much better than it is in the comic book. The comic book, I think, is just a lot of action, and it's pretty gruesome for just, like, a comic. Like, obviously, it's a flesh-eating zombie story, but I don't know. It just seems like in the show they get more, like, human moments in there, and I appreciate that. So I maintain that I like the show better, but I'm going to keep reading the graphic novels because I want to know what happens, and I want to see how it compares, because some different things have happened already. So I also find it interesting to see the things that they decided to keep the same in the movie and the book, and then things that they have changed. It's really interesting to see which pieces they've decided were good enough to keep, which ones they want to change. I don't know. But I think I give both of those 3 out of 5 stars, and yeah. Next, I read Jane, the Fox, and Me. First of all, this worked for one of my challenges to read a book that was translated from another language. Originally, this was in French. Of course, I got the English version because my French is not that great, but it works as a translated book. Also, I just thought it was good. It follows the story of this little girl who doesn't feel like she really fits in. She's just kind of struggling a little bit, trying to find her place, work her way through adolescence, and she keeps referring back to Jane Eyre, which she's reading, and she's kind of comparing her story with Jane Eyre's story. It's just really good. I don't want to give away too much, but I really, really liked it. This, by the way, is by Fanny Britt and Isabel Arsenault, and I love it. It's just great. When I first looked through this, I thought, yeah, the pictures, they're okay. I don't know why they're black and white, and some of them are kind of simple. I didn't get it, but reading the book, I totally get it. The colors and the simplicity of some of the drawings versus the complexity of some of the drawings work with the story. They help develop the story. The drawings change as the character changes, which I just think is phenomenal. I've never seen that in a graphic novel before, that the drawing is actually kind of like supporting the character instead of just trying to kind of captivate the audience. I really, really liked it. I would definitely suggest this to anyone who's wanting to read a graphic novel and doesn't know where to start. This was amazing. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Next, I read, tried to complete a series. Oh, just hit my computer there. Sorry, I got a little squiggly. Next, I read Gathering Blue. Wasn't a fan. This is supposed to be the sequel to, or I guess the companion to The Giver. I didn't see how it tied it at all. I was thinking, why? Why Lois Lowry? Why? Then I picked up The Messenger because I thought maybe it'll get better. I didn't like this one. I think I like this one even less. However, this one at least did bring back some of the Giver characters and then some of the Gathering Blue characters. So it kind of tied the Giver and Gathering Blue together. However, I still don't like it. I think they easily could have combined these into one book and kind of taken out some of the stuff you don't really need. I just wasn't a fan, so I ended up taking a break. I was going to go straight into Sun, which is the 4th book, but I just couldn't do it after these 2. However, I have started reading Sun now, and it is really good. So I'm so excited that it's kind of arcing back. And I'm hoping to do maybe a video review of the series when I get them all done. So keep that in mind. So there's hope. There's hope for these yet. I can see why she continued on now with Sun. So stay tuned for that video. But those were the next 2 books I read. Then I read as an audiobook. Third Degree, it's kind of, kind of there, she get the point. Third Degree, it is by James Patterson and Andrew Gross, and it is one of the Women's Murder Club mysteries, and basically, the Women's Murder Club is 4 women, obviously. It's the assistant district attorney, a detective, what do they call those? The medical examiner, and the local news reporter. And they make up this little murder club, and they get together and kind of solve crimes together. I mean, they're not like superheroes, but like when the detective gets a crime, they all just kind of work it together basically and share their leads and work together instead of, kind of individual to solve these crimes. And up to now, they've been okay, but not really great. I actually really liked this one though. Before this one, I was thinking about not even continuing the series. I thought I'd give the third one a try, and if I didn't like it, I was going to let the series drop. But this one was pretty good because leading up to now, I feel like the women would just get together and kind of solve the crime, and that was the end. And I'm sure that should be entertaining enough, I guess, but it wasn't. It was lacking something. And in this book, I realized what it was. You didn't get to see the characters really react to something significant, because in this book, while they are fighting these this terrorist group basically, which is pretty interesting already, they have to come to terms with something tragic that happens to one of their own. So you get to see all the women kind of reacting, and I don't know. I think this one was probably the best one that I've written so far. That I've read so far. And I will definitely be picking up the 4th one. I wish I'd written this. I'd be having some money right now. But I'm going to read the 4th one, check them out, see how they go. That was the next one. And then I picked up To Kill a Mockingbird. Classic. If you haven't read it yet, go read it. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. It is by Harper Lee. You should have read it by now. Go read it. And of course, I watched the movie afterwards. I love this book. I do have to say, though, that I forgot how slow the first part of this book goes. And it was read by Sissy Spacek. It was very slow going at the beginning. But a lot of that is necessary. I feel like some of it could be cut out, but a lot of it's necessary for the character development that makes this book so phenomenal, especially in the second half with the trial and everything that happens after. If you haven't read it, though, give it a read, especially since the sequel is coming out in about 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm super excited for it. We actually read this as a group of my friends for a book club, and we're going to be reading the sequel, I think, is our next book, so I'm pretty pumped. Maybe after I read both of them, I can do, again, another kind of series review discussion. So let me know down below how excited you are for this sequel, for sure. Next, I picked up The Shining by Stephen King. It doesn't have the cover on it, so you just have to look at the spine. Look at it. There you go. Basically, I picked it up because one of my friends has really been into sci-fi, has been into kind of fantasies, Stephen King, horror type of books, and I had never read a Stephen King book before. So I decided to jump on the bandwagon and read one. So we decided to read The Shining, especially since that movie is so popular. I gave it a read. The beginning I did not like. It was very slow. And like I said that about a couple of them, and that was my problem. I'd read this is the 4th book in a row that was just not getting my attention. I was starting to get into quite a slump. I just didn't want to read this. So it took me a while to get through the beginning. However, it did pick up towards the middle when things start happening. If you don't know, The Shining is about this couple that moves into a hotel, to take care of it over the winter months when nobody's there, and the dark spirits come out to play as soon as they're locked in. A lot of creepy things happen, and they're worried they won't make it until the spring alive. And some of them do, some of them don't. I'll leave it at that. But I was impressed at how creepy the book could be when you consider that nothing scary actually. I don't think anything really scary happened, but it was unnerving, I think, and I was impressed with that. Overall, though, I wasn't a huge fan of his writing style. I thought he did a good job telling the story, if that makes sense, but I didn't like the way he literally wrote the story with like thoughts in parentheses, I found it kind of confusing. But overall, it was okay, especially after it picked up a little bit towards the end. I'm so excited to watch the movie. Also, they did a paranormal investigation on the show Ghost Adventures of the Stanley Hotel, which is the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write this. So I'm going to check that out. I think I've seen it before, but I want to watch it now that I've read the product of that evening Stephen King spent at the Stanley Hotel. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out as well. So pretty excited to finish that one. I would probably give Stephen King another read just to see how I feel about it, but I'm not sure I'm a Stephen King fan. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not sure I am. And the last book that I read this month has to do with Ghost Adventures. If you haven't seen Ghost Adventures yet on the Travel Channel, you should go watch it because it's awesome. Basically, they go to all these different haunted locations all over the world and they investigate them and try to interact, obviously, with the spirits there. But I would say even the part where they're not investigating, just doing the daytime part of the investigation is part of the best of the show because they go around, they do all the interviews with people who've had interactions, people who know the history of the location, and it's just great. I love hearing the history behind all these infamous places, so to speak. They've gone to the Stanley Hotel, they've gone to a lot of old jails, and they've gone to like the tuberculosis hospitals, a lot of places out west. It's just so much fun. I love the history part of all those, but that's beside the point. One of the investigators on that show, his name is Zach Bagans, however you'd like to say it, and he's haunted. It says, "I'm haunted, living life through the dead." I picked this up hoping that what it would be kind of an extension of the show. Maybe him talking about visiting all the places and all the experience he's had, because this guy has been to some of the coolest places ever, and I'm sure he's had amazing experiences, but that's not quite what it was. It's kind of like a memoir style. It's quite a few like little chapters, and they're just kind of like, it just seems like they sent him to the gym and got him all pumped up on testosterone and then gave him something to transcribe a book. I don't know. I don't think he came across in a very good light in this book, which I don't know if that was the intent. I don't know if he is kind of playing up a role or what. But it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't really what I wanted from this book. So I was pretty disappointed. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I know a lot of people, a lot of fans of the show really liked it. It's basically like an inflated version of his character on the show. So I mean, if you like him, his cocky demeanor on the show, then you will really like this. I was really hoping for a different book, and maybe in the future he'll give us that, where it's like a lot more background on the locations and more details about his actual work with the paranormal and all these fabulous locations. We'll see. But I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. If you read this one, let me know what you think down below. Maybe you liked it, maybe I missed something, but I don't know. Yeah, that was the last one that I managed to read. I got that one in at the final hour last night to finish out June. So that takes me up to 14 books for June. I'm pretty excited. If you've read any of the ones that I read and you'd like to discuss them, I'd be more than happy. Leave a comment down below and we'll talk about them. If there's something you think I should read for July, let me know, because I'm getting ready to work on my TBR. In the meantime, though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!